Up this weekend in a battle of grappler versus grappler, we have Darrick Minner representing Glory MMA and Fitness taking on the Wolverine Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. And in this matchup, if you told me a year and a half ago that Darrick Minner was going to be an underdog against Shayilan Nuerdanbieke, I would have laughed in your face. But at this point, it's probably warranted. I mean, it probably makes sense why it is there, and I'm going to break it down a lot of different ways. But for Nuerdanbieke, the reason why I didn't have the highest of regard for him coming into the UFC was because I wasn't sure how his wrestling was going to translate into the UFC. Decent boxing combinations, but in a fight against Rongju, it was a quick right hand down the pipe that dropped Nuerdanbieke. He ends up getting finished in that fight, and it was only a few more fights later where he was making his UFC debut, taking on Joshua Culibao. Now, he got out everything in that fight, wasn't able to get his wrestling going, totally out volume. Culibao gets the win. So for Nuerdanbieke, his next time out, he's taking on Sean Soriano, and I thought, well, Soriano gets taken down like it's, nobody's business.
He can strike, though.
Soriano's a good striker. We knew that coming into the UFC back in 2014. We knew that now when he made his second time out with the UFC. And in that matchup, Nuerdanbieke takes it down to the mat, and he ends up getting a decision win. So then his next time out, he takes on TJ Brown. I went, you know what? I'm doubting Nuerdanbieke again. I'm not picking him to win this fight. TJ Brown was about a minus 200 favorite. Nuerdanbieke was plus 175. And in that matchup, Shayilan was able to get the win, and it was a relatively close fight, but he clipped Brown with an overhand right in the first round, dropped him. They had a lot of big-time wrestling exchanges. Third round, Brown tries to kind of unload the gas tank right at the end, and Brown was trying to get the finish. The trouble for me is, you fight a guy like TJ Brown, well, Darrick Minner's his teammate. Brown and Minner fight in similar ways. Brown's a little bit better of a striker. Minner might be a little bit better with some of his top pressure. But in the matchup that Shayilan had against Brown, we saw the gas bar go down a little bit. You look at him right now training at Killcliff FC with the China top team guys. I mean, those guys are yoked. And for Nuerdanbieke, that's kind of a big thing. Like, coming into the UFC, you thought, hey, is it going to be lightweight? What is it going to be? And then he was making the move down to featherweight, and I had questions. I still have some questions around his gas tank. The guy's wrestling's powerful. He out-wrestled Brown at the start. He had him in a lot of compromising positions. I've been really impressed with Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. The other thing, he should have been 20-7 after he beat Sean Soriano, and then he ends up at 38-10. So the record got added, and whatever that is, with Topology, with Sherdog, they have Fight Finder. Check it out. But for Nuerdanbieke, the skills are there. He's impressed me in the UFC. I picked against him in 3 fights. I'm 1-2, and he's 2-1, so good for him.
And for Nuerdanbieke, he showed that his wrestling explosiveness does translate into striking his last time out. And I think that's a very important thing to demonstrate, because against someone like Darrick Minner, who, again, is basic on the feet, he's all right. But again, the thing
he's economical.
That's a good way of describing it. Yes, he has a very basic game plan on the feet. Again, most of the stuff he does on the feet is to work the fight to the ground and then to try to get top pressure. But that's the thing I'll be very interested in, to see if Minner can try to go for sweeps and to see how active he is off his back. Because Minner is going to invite a lot of the grappling, I think, in this matchup. But the thing is, he's going to want to end up in the top position, and the top position is going to be very important. When you have 2 primary strikers, we normally talk about, hey, the outside foot position, who's moving forward, things like that. Well, between 2 grapplers, it's really going to come down to who gets the top position, because if Darrick Minner can get on top of Nuerdanbieke, he's going to look way better than him. He's going to be able to threaten with submissions, go against his guard, threaten across his guard, and really try to go for different ground and pound and submissions. And I would say this, Minner probably has the better chance to get a finish in this fight. I think if Nuerdanbieke does get the win, it's going to be a lot of top control, it's going to be a lot of top pressure, but I don't know how effective he's going to be able to be with his own ground and pound, because if he does open up, create a lot of separation for his own strikes, that's going to help Minner try to move on the ground and create some separation. So, and again, you hate to say this, but I do it every single week, but for Nuerdanbieke, it might be beneficial for him to try to make this fight a little bit boring. Use your physicality, use your pace, use his clinch control too, because I'm looking at it right now on Tapology, and Nuerdanbieke is only listed as 1 inch taller, and he does have a shorter reach. I think he might be a little bit taller than 1 inch. I do look at him as the slightly more physical guy. Now, I'll be very interested to see how they do match up just against each other with the face-off. And you can't learn everything from a face-off. I'm not going to switch my prediction based off it. But at least to me, I do think Nuerdanbieke is going to have a bit of a physicality advantage in this matchup. But I think the grappling exchanges between these two guys, just to end it, are going to be very interesting. Because Minner's going to be active off his back. He's not just going to sit there and try to get the ref to get them back up to the feet. So I will be interested to see how Nuerdanbieke reacts to the submissions that Minner goes for off his back.
Yeah, because I mean, Darrick Minner's a Nikita Krylov type of grappler.
100%.
You're going to get submitted. You're going to submit some guys. And he has some really good wins on his record. Obviously, for Minner, like, he's fought a high level of competition going way back to what? Like, let's pick one. 2014 fights Luke Sanders. Well, Luke Sanders was an RFA champ.
I thought he was going to be awesome.
You go up and down. Jesse Arnett, Chico Camus, who else? Jordan Griffin, Kevin Kroom, Clay Collard's the win. He beats Terrence McKinney. And how did he beat McKinney? McKinney rushes in for a takedown, gets the fight down to the mat, and then you have a reversal out of Darrick Minner, and he submits him in the first minute. So there are Minner fights like that. Taking on TJ Laramie, compact, big, gonna wrestle. What does Darrick Minner do? Submits him very, very quickly. So if you're Minner, he even dropped Charles Rosa in that matchup. Now he takes on Darren Elkins, second to last fight, had a good first round. Didn't have a good second round. Got beat
his cardio fell off a cliff.
Pillar to post. Fought Ryan Hall. Fought one of the most confusing fights I've ever seen. He was booked against Damon Jackson earlier on this summer. What happened? Well, Jackson ended up fighting Dan Argueta, who's the mouthpiece for Cub Swanson. But if you look at it for Minner, I read a weird headline. It's another all-star MMA interview with JHK. The headline: Darrick Minner details concussion symptoms / recovery. And I thought, oh boy. Like, is he like Mark Savard now? Like, we're going to retire a Bruin and never play
Tua took a Vailoa.
Hockey again? Well, Tua turned back the clock. He looked
Dump
amazing
today.
This weekend. Yeah, how about that? But for Darrick Minner, the conversation was his wife was due. He went home for the birth, and then he's training at the home gym, or the hometown gym. Goes with his sparring partner. They clash heads, and he gets a bit of he gets his bell rung. Goes home, and he's puking. So he ended up with a concussion. Had to take about, a good 4 weeks, nothing. 8 weeks really slow, and then back into it for the full gamut of the testing. If you look at it for Nuerdanbieke, again, another camp training in the States, getting ready at Killcliff FC. A lot of great training partners over there. Sean Soriano's holding the mitts. That's got to be awkward.
It must be.
It's got to be so awkward. You look at the odds in this fight, Matt. Minner open plus 170, plus 165. Nuerdanbieke open minus 200, minus 206. We have a look at the Tapology votes. Surprised to us as they are to you. I'm going to say that they're probably going to be close. I'm going to say over-under 62.5% Nuerdanbieke. It would surprise me if it was way over. Oh, it's way over. 474 total votes. 82% Nuerdanbieke. 79% by decision. For the 18% that have Minner, 48% by decision. 38% by submission. Which makes some sense. Because, Darrick Minner, again, killer be killed type of grappler. But I say economical striking. He doesn't throw much out on the feet. He doesn't really absorb a whole lot on the feet. Against Darren Elkins, he absorbed everything. Like, everything. It was so bad.
I think Minner's going to get exhausted in the wrestling exchanges in this fight. And I came into this video thinking
Nuerdanbieke's the type of guy that happens to. Like, his second round against TJ Brown, he looked like the sails were out of the sailboat and we're lost at sea.
But the thing is, we're talking about two fighters who, after that first 5 minutes, you're having some question marks about them. And at least, the way I'm thinking about it, maybe you can talk me out of this.
No.
Nuerdanbieke is the guy who is going to be able to dictate when the fight's on the mat and when the fight's on the feet. Now, yes, Minner, if he's able to get on top, I would say is the more lethal of the two. He has the higher probability of getting that submission finish if he's on top, but I think the wrestling is going to wear on Minner. I can see Minner trying to waste a lot of energy getting back up to his feet, wasting energy going for submissions off his back. And again, I came into this video kind of thinking I would pick Darrick Minner, but the more that we've talked about this fight, I do find myself siding with Nuerdanbieke.
I like the size advantage of Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. I don't like the cardio of either guy, so take that for what it's worth. And if you are looking at it going, well, if Nuerdanbieke slows, that opens up the door to a Minner submission, I would agree with you to a certain extent. So I'm going to go with Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. He just throws hammers on the feet, and we'll see how that plays out against Darrick Minner. If you like Minner, let us know down below in the comment section. We have some big-time fights, including Jailton Almeida taking on Max Grecian in the next one. Don't skip ahead. You're going to want to watch that one. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, and as we always say, let's get into it.